Well, another week of not hitting deer, and they haven't even taken the parts down off of here. They got a good coat on them, though. We'll do a little cleanup where the bearing surfaces are. I'm not worried about not having brake stuff completely ready in time, because I think that really it'll be... I'll pick up some stuff, get a little bit of space so we can get manuals and things out and do torque settings. But really, it's that fuel tank, right? We need to do something about the fuel tank. That's what's holding us up. So I don't have anything to do with that today. There is a scrap yard I found north of the state, a ways, a couple hours away, that has one on some scrapyard website listing thing. And then there's a whole bunch of other ones. It's a diesel tank too for a Mark III, which should fit. So I did their little online forum, didn't hear anything back, so I may give them a call next week, see if it's available. It'll be worth the drive. If I can get that for $100 or less, yeah, it's well worth it. Maybe even $200, it's probably worth it, because I'd pay more than that for a fuel cell, and half the fuel cells aren't compatible with diesel because of the foam. And the manufacturer says to pull the foam out, well, now it'll slosh around. It's just not worth it, right? Let's see if they have it. But tonight, let's go ahead and I'm going to get clean up a little bit, get the exhaust out of the shed and take a look and see, because I think right here, we cut a hanger out. Well, that's probably strap. Is that strap? I don't know. I cut something off there. Yeah, that's exhaust, driver's side. So we'll probably have to weld something there. Here's a hanger, right? Still feels solid. We painted it. We'll see what's on the pipe itself. Really, we want to see where we need to fix stuff on the car. And then on the pipe, we can either adjust or add things as needed easily. Brake lines will be easy to do with the car and its wheels. So fuel tank, exhaust stuff, thing like I don't want to weld upside down. And then suspension, right? I'm delayed from KW. They got an email from the company I bought from that just drop ships from them. And they said basically like the 27th, I think. So we're pushed to the end of the month before that comes out. So little bits of delays, but really need to get this thing up on its wheels, make sure it's sealed up so I can do the interior, put the windshield on it, get it out in the driveway so I can start tearing the engine out of the other car. So here's that exhaust. And it's got over the axle part matches, which if this was a Corrado exhaust, that part would be true, right? This stuff would all fit exactly the same. Then back here, looks like where it's cut, and the tip of that comes out far enough, right? And it's got a hanger here-ish, not where that is. So this should be, it's a Borla, that should be a stainless can, right? The pipe's clearly not. This is probably factory, maybe, I don't know. The fact that it has a cat. Yeah, we'll see. So what we might do is use sections of it as we see fit, right, and just combine it with the exhaust, the stock exhaust that's on the Mark IV, because that's just going to bolt up just fine. That catalytic converter is already gutted and welded back together, so we'll just make sure, as long as it lines up well, which it should, I'll probably use a lot of my exhaust and then go from there, because this has an O2 bung I'd have to clog up. The diesel doesn't have one pre-cat. I think it only has it post-cat. Or no, it only has it pre-cat. It doesn't have one post-cat because they don't check that stuff. Something like that. Anyway, we'll check it out when it's apart. But all this pipe's in really good shape. So at a minimum, we have a nice long piece of pipe that we can add to mine if it's all rusty and gross. And we got a good can in the back that should sound decent. Look at what I got. Yeah. So went today and picked up a diesel tank out of a Mark III. So Mark III tanks fit inside Mark IIs. I don't know what the hell is that, a seal? It's supposed to be a seal. So they didn't give me the semi unit, which is fine. Oh, it does have it's got a little gasket in there. Okay, so we can clean all that up. It has some kind of mystery fluid inside it, which at least this one I can fit my hand in. It barely smells like diesel. I think there's a lot of water in there already. Either way, we'll get that into an appropriate container and then just flush it, right? Because we have on the cap side, I don't know if it broke out at some point or what, but it seems this doesn't have a flappy guy. I don't know if they did for the diesels. If somebody knows, let me know, because here's the little, right, there's for the vent. And Yeah, so this little tab, right, when people talk about venting their tanks, whoops, right in the eyes. When you push on that and it allows, right, it goes to that vent line and it lets you fill this area of the tank. It lets the air out so you can get a little bit extra in. I tried turning it upside down in the bucket and still like nothing gets through the filler neck. So there's got to be somewhere that I can't see. There's another check valve, right? So I think what I'm going to do is try putting a piece of vinyl tubing, just push it down through, see if that'll hold it open, because I can just grab it from the inside and pull it all the way through now that I have a hole that's big enough. That way we won't be ripping on it and having to break anything. So we'll try that next. Okay, so I was able to get the tube through, but it's not going to work. So let me get a light. So hopefully we'll be able to see it. I can't really see it from here because it's too dark, but if I push the light in there and push the camera in, maybe it'll show up, maybe it won't. But what it feels like is if there's a like dingus end that comes down, it's got a little like grate on the end of it. So really, I guess as you look at this seam, right? So I bet the tank gets molded. This big donger gets shoved down in there, pokes into the tank, and then the top gets fixed on here to trap it all inside. And it makes sense because what that would do is, in a rollover, it would help keep fuel from spilling out the filler neck, right? So we got some in there now that won't come out. Yeah, so it's an interesting piece of equipment, but it doesn't do us any good. It's not an actual check valve, it's just a tube in the way. So when I flip the tank upside down, it goes down in this area, but that's around another tube and doesn't do us any good. So my little hand pump's not pulling things through like it's supposed to. So we'll have to figure something out. I'm not a huge fan of trying to siphon it because it's just like gross, right? It's one thing to get diesel in your mouth. It's another thing to get junkyard diesel in your mouth. So we'll think of something. So we are going to siphon it, but I just had wicked deja vu, right? So I'm setting this thing up on the trash can and I'm looking over at the camera and it's just like I've been here before, man. Like I swear I'm not on drugs, but I just got creeped out big time. Well, I got it started without ingesting any, so bonus points. And if we can get it to, I think it's going to try to go out of the bucket if I let it go. I don't have to hang on to it. This other end I've got taped to a piece of aluminum so it kind of stays in the corner. You can tell this is not all, like it's clearly not all diesel. It's probably mostly dirty water. Who knows how long it's been sitting out in the car. Probably what happened is they sold the sending unit to somebody and maybe the car doesn't have a rear window. I have no idea. Doesn't matter. It's way better tank than this one, so just got to figure out what to do with that thing. Look, oh, looks like we're already done. There really wasn't much in there, but that's filthy, right? So now that most of the fuel's out, I'm comfortable purging the rest with the hose, and we're not going to get too much weird stuff into the lawn. Not that I care about this lawn at all, but I do kind of care about the groundwater. I don't want to dump gallons and gallons in, but a little bit is going to be no worse than what probably dribbles off of the lawnmower. Here we go. It's all like leaves and who knows what, but the point is it's not fuel varnish, right? So once this thing fills up, we're hoping that just by flushing a bunch of water through it, we'll get most of the debris out. I kind of swish around, and because of the opening's so big, I can get some towels and stuff and jam my arm down in there and wipe the inside of the tank, at least most of it. Yeah, if we just let this go, it's going to push. Yeah, see, push all the junk out and all the floaties out. And by the time we push 100 gallons through the tank, we should have taken care of almost 95% of that debris inside it. Anything that's going to float around should come out. Yeah, we'll just leave it for a while. It's already been a few minutes and we're looking pretty good. There's still stuff coming through, right? But not much. So, and we got a bunch of space up here where there could be things stuck to the ceiling. That's what that vent line's for. Actually, this could be kind of interesting. Let me pull the hose out. I'm just going to push that little tab. See it drain down? Because it's letting water go in all the way up to there. You can hear it bubble. So And get some more up there with that drain. So I think we'll tip it up, drain a bunch of the water out. I'll elbow deep with a microfiber and try to scrape the sides a bit and then flush it some more. Oh, giant leaf just came flying out of it. Yeah, there's still a lot of floaties. All it takes is time, right? And it's a lot better off than that other tank. Oh, there we go. I can actually reach all the way to this corner. You can feel all kinds of stuff in there. Ow. At least it's all just like organic debris, right? It's not fuel varnish like the other one is. So. Back at it. Nice thing is, one the water like this, you know, we're not gonna well, yeah, I'm not gonna put the tank in with the car like this. I'm gonna wait till we have stuff out of the Mark IV, just to see what might, you know, we might get lucky and that might be compatible. So we have plenty of time to flush this out a couple times over the week and siphon the water out of it. We can just set it in the driveway whenever it's not raining and let the sun evaporate the water out. So there's all kinds of stuff stuck to it. We just had this big boy float out, right? Just giant leaf. So yeah, it's going to be a process, but it's definitely going. It's already way better than the other tank, so I'm happy with it. $75, like, can't really lose. Oh, look, that's helping, right? This is what happens to Steve after Taco Bell. Yeah, so stuff's coming out. It started to come out pretty slow, so I'm just moving the hose around, get it in different parts. Hey, buddy. See, like stuff like that keeps showing up. So it's in there and it wants to get out, right? Leaves don't want to be inside; they want to be in the yard. But if I move this thing around a bit, it gets the flow inside different and just keeps pushing things out. So just a matter of time. What we'll probably do is, hey, there's another big boy. No, don't go. Gotcha. That's the stuff that'll clog up the screen, right? It won't even make it to the filter. You'll be stuck on the side of the road. So what I'm going to do is shut the hose off and let this just kind of soak for a while. See if it, you know, if that helps any. 'Cause I don't want to leave it running all day. I guess I could. It's just electricity. But yeah, we'll let it soak for a bit, do a little bit of work on the shower, and then we'll come mess with it a little bit before you go to work, and just let it sit full of water overnight, so all of these leaves and stuff can get nice and saturated.